はい、どうも皆さんお疲れ様です。かねんです。本日はめちゃくちゃスペシャルでございます。なんと私がちょっと前に紹介させていただいた新鋭ブランドの動画、皆さん覚えてますか？そこで紹介させていただいたミッドナイトロデオというブランドのね、方々が今日は特別に独占インタビューをさせていただくことになりました。イエーイ
I love it!
I don't know what you said, but that was the best intro I've ever had.
Yes.
I like the Midnight Rodeo Japanese. Sick. Wow.
なのでこの方々がミッドナイトロデオをもう作られたファウンダーの方々でございます。で、どんな感じでブランドを始めたのかとか、どういうコンセプトでテーマでやっているのかとかね、詳しいことをやっぱニューヨークで生き抜くためには大変ですから。でしかもミッドナイトロデオはグン来てますから。では早速インタビューをしていきたいと思います。かねチャンネルです。
My name is Joseph Bunn. I am the co-founder of Midnight Rodeo. We started this brand, 3 years ago. I have a background, funnily enough, actually in political science, marketing, writing, but fashion was always sort of like a passion that I didn't know if I was really going to be able to explore it in a way that was going to be concrete in my life. And now here I am 3 years later.
We're doing it.
Hey.
I'm Jackson. Jackson Ray. I'm originally from Texas. Fort Worth. Hence like the Midnight Rodeo vibe. Yeah, I moved to New York 8 years ago. I went to school here. I've worked in luxury retail for 7 years. From Patron of the New, Celine, and then back to Patron of the New as well. So, my background's in luxury retail, selling clothes, working with, seeing the rise and, things of brands. I've seen the rise of Mike and Miri and all these things. Virgil, Off-White, so I basically was living in Texas, got interested in fashion, moved to New York and wanted to do something. I started a blog, that's how we met. We met in a nightclub. So Joseph was writing 5 years ago now. So basically, like, we met in a nightclub. Joseph was writing for us in the blog. I decided that, like, I was like, hey, like, I think I know enough now that, like, we could do something. And so that's what we've done.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's the story.
So cool. Okay. First, congratulations.
Thank you.
Your first runway show.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah,
How was it? Like, it's hard.
Everything.
It's still hard right now. Yeah.
Everything, everywhere, all at once. Like,
That
was the runway, but it was exhilarating. It was full of trials, full of like last minute decisions.
We saw half the collection, like more than half the collection was like saw it for the first time 24 hours before the show. So we did a fitting. Casting was fun. I had like my homies that like work in nightlife and like do tattoos and all this stuff, like walk our show. And then we had like some real models. So it was cool just because kind of like show people what the whole thing is, like the whole idea and like the vibe that we wanted to show.
From runway to party.
Yeah, exactly. So creating this environment, but also just like wanted people to see like the head to toe looks and like the inspiration and like the styling. I think like was really took us from like a night people thought they knew what our brand was, like they do really fun parties. Now it's like
so you're wearing hats, initially kind of classic.
Yeah.
But
so now it's like we're making cardigans. This is our cardigan sample, hoodie sample, we made denim, varsity jackets, cowboy boots.
This is your roots.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Texas.
These are the roots. Yeah.
So the goal was for me to like upbringing and what I was surrounded by.
Yeah. And I bring kind of like the city, sort of like a little bit more modern vibe to kind of match those, match those and get a.
Which has been fun, and I'm excited when the collection hits. Is like to see how people style certain pieces. Like we put it down the runway with our vision, but it's going to be even more rewarding to see how people pair it with like certain things.
You could do a head to toe look with this cardigan and these boots, but you could also wear this cardigan with a pair of like
Rick Owens or baggy jeans, Balenciaga, like which is fun, So I love to see how people interpret our pieces and things like that. But yeah, I mean the show was crazy. It was crazy. We had so many good people like a part of it that pulled up and just helped and like was like working all day to make sure my mom's like steaming clothes in the back. So it's very like
all hands on deck.
But like it felt like the moment coming back in after that we did our final walk, like it felt like I just won the Super Bowl. You know, I felt like everyone's like grabbing us. It felt like a family thing, which was like cool. And I think that's really what the feeling I want like people to feel about the clothes. Like I want them to feel happy. I want them to feel like they had a good time. They, you know,
experience.
I want them to be like, I wore this and I wore it to a sick party.
Exactly. And so many clothes are just empty. But keep going.
I love the idea of people creating memories wearing stuff we've created. And you know, that's the most rewarding thing. I'm a very sentimental person, so life is so precious that like we can't even waste one day. Like you know, we do a party, we plan it for 6 months, and then boom, it's over the next day. It's just a memory now. So you know, we kind of want to like really. That's our position.
We want to help remind people of that through clothes, through the experience.
And you know, it's also nice to make stuff that like people can feel like they can wear a lot. You know, like your favorite hat or your favorite T-shirt. That's my favorite pant. Like you know, that's the goal. You know, so we put a lot of effort and time and research to like make sure it's the best fit, or we have to tweak it. Like, people think it's so easy just to make a hat, and like then you see the tech pack, and you're like, oh
it's
my god!
I feel like you're engineering this.
I'm measuring it, like you know, getting it's like you know, it's like this tweak, you know. So it's very like you know down to every like stitch or everything. So it's a lot of stuff that like you know I kind of knew before doing this, but like you appreciate everything that much more when you're actually doing it, and you realize what it takes and how like you know it makes you really appreciate how successful other brands are because you know how hard it is. You know how hard it is. You know, it's I'm working a full-time job and I'm working like 60 hours a week. You know, taking calls and like working, and then I'm having design next season or whatever. It's like so. So I was like, I guess this is my life now. So you know, you can see like our sunglass box. It's got like the like disco.
You guys are making like sunglasses.
Yeah, this is our collaboration with Terry Lazary. So this is one of the pairs as well. So
the white bone.
Yeah, so he worked with us, you know, which is great. You know, that was a partnership. You know, he's made glasses with Rude and ERD and you know a bunch of some of the brands we really like, you know. So for him to work with us our first season was like a huge opportunity, and you know he supported us endlessly, which is great. You know, glasses are really a part of like we wear glasses in the club. It's very cinematic. So you know, I feel like it was really important to have those.
And cinemas also,
movies.
Huge like touchstone for us as well. I mean, you can see. I mean, not sure if the frame can capture. We have posters in the background, which is another kind of bond that we share.
We've watched hundreds of movies sitting where we're sitting on this TV.
And more in the other apartment, which is some of the formative ideas for Midnight Rodeo were actually like generated through watching film. You know, one of our first campaigns and efforts was an MR film where we had like, reviews. Shout out to the homie Tanner.
Shout out to Tanner.
And you know, we kind of decked them out in our first ever Midnight Rodeo look, you know. And it was definitely something
shot it in
a movie.
Yeah, we
Times Square during like COVID, you know, quarantine was once in a
It was like the Times Square was empty. It was crazy.
We would never have an opportunity.
We couldn't even go get a drink in a bar. We had to like drink outside. So it was like getting creative there. And then he happened to be from Texas, where I'm from, and I flew down. Shot in Texas, like we rented like a sick vintage car, went to a casino, like literally like in Oklahoma, and we like looked like it was Vegas basically. So, you know, it was really cool. It was really cool, and you know, one of the memories I always tell people when I like knew that like I think the brand was gonna work was we go into this casino in Oklahoma. And like Oklahoma, not fashion at all, opposite, anti-fashion. So like I walk in, this older guy is like 60 plus years old, checking our IDs, and Tanner's wearing this hat, and he's like, Midnight Rodeo, like it made him feel something. It just made him feel something, you know. And I was like, oh, I was like, that's sick. There's someone old that's like not even into fashion. Like can feel that way.
It's
like,
generational, you know. It speaks to multiple generations.
Which is the idea, you know, and it's like cool because like now we're gonna have fans that are younger than me, but like maybe I have people that are aware, so that's like older than me, and like you know, it's cool to be able to speak to across generations.
And bring all into one.
But it was cool. That was the moment where I was like, oh, this could work, you know. So and I love like you know, I was telling JB like I love old things. Like all these movie posters are original. I love something that's like well loved because that's like you can see the like love and care on a garment or like an old book or something, or like, you know, so like I want our stuff to be like that eventually, like well loved and worn out, and maybe it's sitting in a vintage shop, you know, 30 years, you know, like that's cool, you know.
That's cool, yeah.
Before COVID, we were talking about Midnight Rodeo. We were like, yeah, it'd be cool, you know, let's do some like commemorative tees for some of the cute little venues we go out to on weekends.
Okay.
It was very like small scale at that point.
It was small scale, but it was also more so.
It had legs.
It definitely had legs, but it was more so like that we were just already thinking about like how special it is to go out and have those moments with your friends, and it's not necessarily just about being in a club. But something about those kinds of experiences.
I went home during COVID. I was in Texas for 3 months, and I've never been home that long since I moved here. So I was able to reflect and like kind of be around my upbringing, and appreciate, and actually like what a lot of people don't even realize is, so my dad lives is in Amarillo, which is in the Panhandle of Texas. So basically, it's situated. It's like a 200,000 population city. It's really small, but it's situated along historical Route 66. There's a lot of random art there. Like, you know, there's also like so basically, long story short, when bands would go from Austin to say like Salt Lake City, they would stop in Amarillo, and they would end up usually just adding a tour date. So one of my first rock and roll concerts ever was at a venue called Midnight Rodeo. It was a cowboy club, and they would use it for concerts. So they closed in like 2017, and you know, I was like, I really like that name. It's somewhere where I like made my first memory. It had this like rock and roll, like Western vibe, and I was like, that could be a cool clothing brand name, and like, and it's fun, and it relates to New York because like we do the parties and stuff. So you know, it's also happens to be my mom's initials is MR. So there's a lot of cool like personal like touches there, you know, and it's like that's what I wanted to do if I had a brand. Because I wanted to make something meaningful that like, is important to me, you know, and I think that's like, I think we're doing that.
Like,
which is
like a child.
Yeah, it is a baby, and you know, I was growing up, you know, so we're trying to, you know, get it, you know, to be a successful adult, you know, but it's growing, you know, so yeah, that's like kind of the original like idea and story. But it was awesome to spend that time in Texas for like 3 months to like be around those things and like get more in touch, re-soak it in, you know, because it's been a while.
So I'm doing a fashion and sneaker YouTube channel. So I want to know about your outfit.
So I do the Midnight Rodeo cigarette psychology trucker. Embroidery. Of course, this is to be released. And then we have, of course, the Midnight Rodeo glasses, Thierry Lazary collaboration. I have the Midnight Rodeo hoodie, the Chateau hoodie.
This is new, just came in, prototype.
Okay, this is prototype.
Yeah, this is for a fall collection.
So cool.
I'm wearing the homie Bossy's cargos. The carpenter pants rather. Just nice loose action. And then socks, unicorn. Turquoise rings, Midnight Rodeo.
Midnight Rodeo?
Yeah, it's a jewelry collab.
Also have Midnight Rodeo on me as well.
That's something we want to expand later.
I have to get it.
Yeah, and then I'm wearing obviously classic trucker, the hat that started it all really for us. Thierry Lazary white like bone sunglasses. And then I have my homie's brand, 4G Seller. This is friends and this is friends and family only.
Yikes,
with the go fuck yourself. Custom print, Yankees in the corner. Yeah, like only
very New York.
Very New York. One of my best friends. Kind of like Kurt Cobain fuzzy cardigan from Fall, which is like this really cool. Yeah, it's like the Picante, like really fun, super soft.
Super light. You can wear this without a shirt.
White pearl buttons. And then we have like the ERDT, chrome hearts, chrome hearts, though. And then I just have like a pair of Wranglers on, which is like the Texas vibe, you know what I mean? So
the high and the low.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. The New Yorker is always like high and low and mixing.
Yeah, of course. It's all about that.
Yeah. Do you have like any like fashion inspiration, favorite designer, or like?
I mean, we gotta say Eddie Slimane.
Yeah, Eddie Slimane is definitely a fashion inspiration. You know, I would say, you know, I love Andre 3000 style. You know,
sick.
Pharrell style, Miles Davis. I mean, contemporary, I would say, you know, I love what Glenn Martin is doing right now, Y Project.
That's sick.
I like Egon Lab.
Yeah, both those are just sick.
Yeah, but I mean, I definitely I'll draw inspiration from like an old woman on the train wearing like a babushka, you know? Like, I'm like, oh, the way she wore that, she's saucy.
Okay.
You know, like exactly. I mean, come on, tell me this isn't an old lady.
Sick,
so
bro.
I'm like, you know, I'm open to drawing inspiration from a lot of avenues, but, you know, even cinema, you know, I'm 100% cinema.
Yeah, I was like, I guess like mine, like I'm obviously like very inspired by movies, but like, you know, Johnny Depp's personal style is fucking sick.
Lenny Kravitz,
Kurt Cobain, obviously. I love his like effortlessness, and also like he wore a lot of like thrifty clothes. So like, you know, I like how it just pulls it off super easy. Trying to think who else. Like I really love brand wise. I mean, like I said, going back like Eddie Slimane, like you know, kind of revolutionized menswear. Also like the rock and roll photography and iconography of that is really cool. David Bowie, like you know, Mick Jagger. You know, Tommy Lee, you know, a lot of these like classic rock and roll guys, you know, people on the street and just seeing like what they're wearing, you know. Yeah, you know, and New York is like a great place to go, and like, you know, I found inspiration even like in Texas, like seeing like some older guy has no idea he's like really fitted, you know, he's not even trying. He's had this he's had this shit for like 50 years, you know, so
he just wakes up out of bed, about his day,
and I'm like, well, his shirt's sick. He's like, what the fuck? So that's cool, you know.
Do you have any like favorite sneaker brand?
Ooh, sneaker brands.
Yeah, or model.
You know, I used to be a sneakerhead. I would say.
I think every guy in fashion, like at one point,
everyone started as a sneaker, right?
True.
But so I love obviously like ESB, but even so, I mean, you can't go wrong with a pair of Vans. You can't go wrong with a pair of good Converses. You can't go wrong with a good pair of Rick Owens, depending on the models. You know, everyone's you know up in arms about the Ramones, but I mean they're still
good shoes.
So good.
My go-to is like Vans, like era, like checkered, like love those, and like I love half calves. JV got me half calves for my birthday. Thank you. And also like I mean I love Jordan. You know I played basketball in high school.
Oh really?
Yes, I have 1s, 4s, 11s. And then I got like it's the men threes are good, you know. I wear cowboy boots and like Vans every day, but then like this year like Jordan 1 Lost and Found like it was released, and I was like, oh, I have to have them, and like it's so funny because like that feels like the younger like 16-year-old me, but I still like have admiration for that, and like I'm actually excited to see the new movie that's coming out about that, you know, called Air. But you know, I think that shoes connected so many people, and it's an iconic silhouette. You know, so like that's really cool. So I love those. I don't really like designer sneakers, to be honest with you.
Really?
Like I just don't need. Like I just feel like sneakers, especially living in New York, like shoes just get so trash because like you walk everywhere, the streets are dirty. So like I'm like, why would I spend all this money? Like it's like cowboy boots, like loafers, like leather shoes, you can get it resold, like you can clean it, like a sneaker's done after like, you know, it's really hard to refurbish like once the rubber wears down without spending a ton of money. But yeah, like, that's why I like, you know, more accessible sneakers. You know, I've never been myself to Japan, you know, it's very high on the list because I've heard it's life-changing. You know, I think in terms of fashion and like variety of style, I think Japan has a great wealth of that. I think culture in general, culture, food, like, you know, everything, you know. I also love the shared admiration for the Americana. Like Japan is like a fan of us in a way, you know, like, you know, which is cool.
I would say would love more Japanese content creators to do what you're doing right now. It's just to kind of breadth it or kind of widen this pipeline of people who are from Japan and to New York.
We're a global, you know, community, so like everyone should kind of like be connected in that way.
The culture barriers that are so much easier now to observe, but also to sort of break down through travel, through social media, through conversation. You know, and then through a shared love of XYZ, whatever it is, whether it's fashion, Midnight Rodeo, sneakers, you know, just content creating in general. So I mean, just something like that could definitely lead to some other creative project that could impact however many lives. You know, you never know.
Yeah, so definitely one of us.
But you'll check us in Japan soon, though.
We
have to go
out in
Japan. Let's hang out in Japan.
Yes, hang out in New York, in Japan, go to Paris. We just hang out everywhere, you know. Thank you for taking time. Thank you guys for listening to.
Of course.
Arigato.
Arigato.
グッドボタン 押しちゃうよね。
という感じでですね、本当に奥深くブランドに意味があって、こう家族のことだったり、やっぱコロナがあって彼らなりになんていうのかな、感じるものだったりとか、彼らが伝えたいことがしっかりこうブランドに込められているっていうのが本当に素晴らしいなって思ったし、プロダクトにしっかり出ているなっていう風にすごく感じた。また私はミッドナイトロデオの大ファンになってしまったという感じでございます。ということで本日も動画見ていただいてありがとうございました。チャンネル登録、グッドボタン、コメントもぜひよろしくお願いします。それではまた次回の動画でお会いしましょう。See you next time! バイバーイ。Thank you!
Sick. Killed it.
Yeah, you're sick. You're an absolute.
Sick. That was fire.
Yeah, I never felt. There was no reason to be nervous, but you made this
car
so
is
easy.
hot.
I'm actually scared. I gotta put a shirt on and take this thing off.
Yeah.